Hello and welcome back to the You Run podcast. I hope you're all having a fabulous week. My name is Scott and I'm going to be your host today. Make sure you hit like and subscribe and click the notification bell. Do that now so you get notified when we do upcoming videos. Today we are talking about A24. So A24 are undoubtedly one of the most divisive film studios around, an independent film studio that are brandished as making nothing but, I'm going to do it in captions, elevated horror, which is kind of horror for snooty people, is the way it's been described. And that's not what A24 is all about. Yes, they do movies that have that deeper dive and more psychological edge to them, but they do a lot of movies that are a lot of fun that people miss out on purely because they say it's A24, I don't want to watch it. Now, I'm going to give you my top 10 movies. Top 10 countdown of all of A24's horror movies that they've ever made. And I'm going to address a big elephant in the room now. So, the movie Midsummer is not in my list. And the reason it is not in my list is because it is about 35 hours long. It is the longest, slowest, most drawn out horror movie that I have ever watched. And while it is shot beautifully and there are some excellent performances in this, the payoff at the end was not enough for me to warrant everything that I went through to get to that point. I'm not by any way saying this is a bad movie, but for me personally, it's not their best and it is definitely not in my top 10. So let's talk about my top 10. In at number 10 is Tusk from 2014. This tells the story of a podcaster, so instantly it resonated with me. And this is a podcaster that goes off to interview a man who's been at sea for a very long time. Um, I'm going to keep all of these descriptions of the movies very spoiler free in case you've not seen them, so you can go and watch them. All I'm going to say is this man is not a nice man, and he puts our character Justin Long in a position where he is going to go through some changes. And if you know anything about Justin Long and horror, you will know for a fact they are not going to be good changes. Tusk is a high recommend for me. It is very heavy on body horror, but it is a very, very entertaining watch. Has elements of great comedy in there as well. So go and check that one out. Scent Maud is almost like a deep dive into faith. So you have a carer who is Scent Maud. She is a Catholic carer, and she is trying to save the soul of an elderly patient who, when she was younger, was a dancer, and she was into drink and drugs and partying, and she led a wild life, and she's now a lesbian. And Maud is trying to lure her away from all of the things that Maud thinks is sending her to hell. This is a brilliant look at faith and how people perceive faith differently, and this is a great movie. The Green Room. This is from 2015, and this is probably a movie you've not heard of because this was really under the radar when this was released. So this follows a band who are touring, and they reach a point in their tour where their event is cancelled, and they have to go to another event, which is kind of handed to them through a friend of a friend. It just so happens that that event is an event for neo-Nazis. It does not go well. They end up trapped in a green room where they have to basically fight their way out and escape. It's a very brutal horror movie. Also, to my absolute shock, stars Patrick Stewart, Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the SS Enterprise, as the head of the Nazi gang. Again, great movie. Bodies, bodies, bodies. And I know it's got Pete Davidson in it. Don't have a meltdown because it's got Pete Davidson in it. He's actually pretty good in this. This is very much a teen movie, if that's a way to describe it. This is aimed at a younger audience. So this didn't necessarily resonate with me, but watching this with my oldest boys, this resonated with them. This is a movie about, they basically play an updated version of Clue. This is Clue for the younger generation. It's a murder mystery horror movie, and it's a load of fun. The Lighthouse. Now, this movie is powerful. It is impactful, and it is fucking weird. Like, it is so off the wall bizarre. So you've got two men who man a lighthouse, and it's all about their slip into madness and their relationship that they build during their descent into madness. And it's very much a movie where you pick apart what is real and what isn't real. It's beautifully shot. It's got an excellent cast. Robert Pattinson, unbelievably, is the best thing in this. And when you're putting him next to Willem Dafoe to say that, that just gives you an idea of how good his performance is. The Lighthouse is a stand-up movie. In at number 5, one of the movies I spoke about at the very beginning, a fun, silly, goofy slasher, X. So X came out in 2022, and this tells the story of a small town production company that want to make a porno. And things go horrifically wrong when they use the cabbing of an elderly lady who is a serial killer effectively. This movie is full of gore, it's full of nudity, it is filmed in a very 70s exploitive kind of way, the way movies in the 70s were made. It's got very much a Texas Chainsaw vibe, and 100% has to be seen. In at number 4 is the Australian movie Talk to Me from 2022. So this came from directed by the Racker Boys from YouTube, and this movie tells the story of a hand that allows you to communicate with the dead, and not only communicate with them, but allow the dead to possess you. This is the best take on a modern possession movie. This is the Exorcist of its time. It's not by any means the same level of just that The Exorcist brings you, but it is for a younger audience. Again, watching this with my younger sons, they are like, this is scary. This is a great movie, brilliant direction, and for first-time directors of a major motion picture, this is outstanding. In at number 3, Pearl, also from 2022. A24 have had a couple of banging years back to back. Pearl is the prequel to X, and that stars, obviously, Mia Goth. This is a fabulous movie. It is the best performance on screen by a female actress in a generation. The fact that Mia Goth didn't even get nominated for an Oscar for this, I think, is disgraceful. Her performance in this is as good as any Oscar level performance from an actress. She is fabulous. This tells the story of how Pearl became the crazy old lady in X. And it's gross. Like, most of the way through, it's gross, but it's really, really good. So go and check that out. In at number 2, which I'm sure is the one that everyone would think would be my number 1, is Hereditary. Hereditary is a movie that can be seen in multiple ways. You can see this as a grief story, watching the family deal with the grief of losing a family member, or you can look at this as a full-on possession movie, or you could even go as far as to say this is sort of a left-hand path magic style movie. This has some of the best scares in any horror movie ever. I would argue this sits on the same level as things like The Shining and The Exorcist for its impact on cinema. Ari Aster is an absolute magician with what he does with some of the shots in this movie, and this is one of the best movies ever made. The Witch, or The Vitch, depending on how you want to pronounce it. The Witch stars Anya Taylor-Joy in, again, an Oscar-worthy performance. This movie is absolutely outstanding in every possible way, from the direction through to the set design, through to the performances, through to the scares. And I don't want to give any plot details away for this. All I'm going to say is it is a very, very slow burn movie. So when you sit down to watch this, do not expect scares to happen immediately. Don't expect them to happen in the second or even the start of the third act. But when they really kick up, this movie is one of the scariest movies ever made. And there we have it. That is my top 10 A24 countdown. Let me know in the comments what your favorite A24 movie is, and whether you really like Midsommar, and explain to me what done it for you with that movie. Also, let me know what you think of my top 10. Were they in the right order? Could I have shuffled it around? Also, have a fabulous week. Like, comment, share, do all that good stuff, and I will catch you all next time.